Alright, I'm going to mark my pinhole locations here. Before I do that, I like to draw kind of where my handle material is going to end, just so when I drill my holes, I don't mess that up and accidentally put it too close to the ricasso here, plunge line. So I'll look at my drawing. Okay, I didn't get too in depth on marking the pinholes. I don't get really precise. I try to get as precise as I can with my calipers here. But I just take half the distance of both sides where I'm gonna do it. Scratch a little bit of a line with my calipers here, and then where I kind of make an X with the calipers, I take it over and I take a little punch and I mark my spots there. So I'm going to drill these out. We'll drill out some bigger holes here just to make this balance a little better and get rid of some of the extra weight in the handle. So we'll do that. And then after that, we are on to the grinding. Okay, so I got a dull belt on here. The reason for that is if you take a fresh belt and you get the initial bevel ground on here, you scrape off a ton of the belt material that's actually doing the work for you. So there's two things you can do. You can take a dull belt, get that initial bevel on both sides, switch the belt out with a newer belt, or you can take a decent belt, even a new belt, and just put the blade edge pointed towards below, or the blade edge pointed below you. That way you can just do that and you're not this isn't just shearing off all this material. So you can just, and then switch it back over to a newer belt. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm just going to get this initial grind started this way, throw on a new belt, and go from there. I'm not an expert when it comes to grinding. I just take my time. A lot of it's feel. I'm not going to get into the details of grinding one because I'm no expert. I have a pile of blades to prove it. So hopefully we can get this one right the first go, so I don't have to play catch up just to redo this whole grinding part again. So I'm gonna put my mask on. We'll get going here. So let's do it. Also, one more thing. I don't put really any markers in there. I know my grind line is going to be pretty high up towards the spine. So once I get really close, I'll get my calipers out and just dial it in to make sure that we're even on both sides and that we're our distal taper here is kind of terminating at the same spot. So up until I get towards the end here, I'm not going to really focus on too much about where this is going to terminate, but it will terminate up here pretty high. So until we get up there, I'll show you what I do. All right, we get the finished grinding. That's to 120 grit. Still, the balance on it, still pretty good. I'll probably drill another hole, a couple holes here just to even it out a little bit. And then we'll get this ready for heat treat. And then we'll go ahead and file in this notch right here that I have on my drawing. And I just use a small chainsaw file and just cut a groove in there. Oh, alright, we got it in there. Simple chainsaw file, just cut that groove right in there. Looks nice and even, about split between the blade and the ricasso there. Alright, we're heating up the oil about 120 to 130 as far as temperature. I use this little device to measure the temperature of the oil. Right now we're about 63, so when it's about 120, 130, it's ready to go. I have my oven heating up out there. We'll go check that out. Alright, here's my even heat oven, so I use for heat treat. I want to mention a couple things. When I first got this, granted this has a reading on the front, tells you what the temperature is, but if you really want to be that much more precise and accurate when it comes to heat treat, I highly recommend getting or borrowing a pyrometer, which I borrowed from a friend. I brought a pyrometer in here and then write down your heat, and I did mine from 600 degrees all the way up to 1800 degrees, and it consistently reads about 5 to 6 degrees a little bit warmer than what this screen actually reads. So being able to have that is key so that you don't overshoot temperatures and having much more control when it comes to temperature for your heat treat. Heat treat is like the soul of the knife. If your heat treat's wrong, you might as well be making knives with mild steel, in my opinion.